But, Sean, let's move into our last topic, and this is going to be a fun one because we walked in. I had some recruiting topics picked out because, Texas A&M got a big quarterback recently. Virginia in basketball got a big recruit. But you threw out a topic that was just too fun to pass up because last year when we were doing the whole preview thing for the PTP before we figured out, there's a lot of Power 5 teams. And it's just pretty much a waste of time to go through all of them because there's so many of them in college football. We had you on for an SEC one, and I want to say it was the one with Kentucky because you brought up how they were kind of a surprise team last year.
Yeah, I think it was the West. I think I did.
Okay,
I don't think I did the Alabama. So whatever division Alabama isn't in, I did that one.
That's right because Brandon did that because he's an Alabama fan.
Yeah, so I did the other one
for that one. But you wanted to talk about teams in college football who could be the biggest surprises in 2019. So how I was just going to do this is conversation back and forth. I'll let you start where you want to go with your first team or explain how you've got yours set up for the biggest surprises in 2019 for college football.
Yeah, so I got tiers. So I got guys, teams that, I set them up differently. Like teams that probably wouldn't be surprised to be good, but I think they might be even better than what people are expecting. I got teams that are on that fringe of maybe they'll be good, and then I have complete dark horses, and then I have one other team.
Okay.
So I have a team that's not even a dark horse. You can't even call them a dark horse. They're just that bad. We'll start off with the team that's actually good. This is a team that I love. This is a team that has been good before, but they've never been elite. This is a team that has pulled off many upsets before. This is a team that is consistently tough to play at home. This team has, in my opinion, probably the most slept-on quarterback prospect in the whole upcoming draft. I think he possibly has the ability to be better than Justin Herbert. I think he has the ability to possibly be better than Jacob Eason. I think that this kid is an absolute stud. Do you have any guesses? This is a top 25 team in a Power 5 conference.
It's not Jalen Hurts.
No.
It's not Oklahoma.
Jalen Hurts sucks.
I want to say Costello from Stanford.
No.
But I don't think they're in the top 24.
The top 25 out there. I don't think they're in the top 25 out there.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. So I'm not going to say any more
Big
guesses.
10 team. I'll give you one guess. Been good at home. They've been consistent. They've been consistently good, but never great.
Michigan.
No. Michigan's been great. Michigan has been a national champion winner.
But
they have Jim Harbaugh as their coach.
Big Brother's always been in the way.
Okay, they have been a top 10 team.
Okay.
They've been elite before. Even though they've never beaten Ohio State under Jim Harbaugh, they've still been an elite team.
Part of me wants to say, if it's not Michigan, it's got to be what, Michigan State? No. Penn State?
No. Those teams have all been elite before. It's Iowa.
Okay.
Iowa has never been an elite team before. Tough to play it at home. A lot of upsets.
Now it makes sense.
Nate Stanley's a stud. Kirk Ferentz is a great head coach.
The easiest hint you would have had to give me was best tradition in college football with the wave into the children's hospital.
Here's the thing. I feel bad inside that I don't like that because it's waving to sick children and it's making them happier. I'm a horrible person, Ricky Widmer, but god damn it, I don't need to see it every Saturday. They do it every time at home.
You just feel like it's crammed down your throat.
They're gonna do it, all right? And I don't what changes? It's people waving all the time. So I'm glad that it makes these children happier. I hope it makes it easier for them. It's a very nice and wholesome thing that we do. Yeah. I'm a jaded person. Things have gone wrong in my life that have made me this horrible, Ricky. I am upset over people waving to sick children.
Sean doesn't like happiness.
God damn it, I don't need to see it on fucking Instagram every goddamn Saturday. All right? It's not like it changes.
It's because
they're in costumes.
It's because the people share it on social media and they think, hey, by me sharing this, I'm not taking part in it, but I'm a good person for sharing it.
Did you not see it the last 3 years? Where have you been, people? It's like the Silent Night shit. I don't need to see that over and over again. They're going to be quiet until the bucket's made, and then it's going to be children screaming.
I absolutely love it, though.
Why? It's stupid. It's a dumb thing.
It's so funny though.
At least the Iowa thing has an a true purpose.
I just love
that's a real thing that's
the
helping
Silent
people.
Night thing. I just love how awkward it is to watch that game, the first 10 points, and I pray each time that they struggle to get to 10, So it just goes longer that we're just in dead silence.
Anyways,
But it's Iowa.
it's Iowa. They do have a rough schedule, obviously, playing in the Big Ten. It's going to be tough, but they do have 2 easy games to start, I think. Miami of Ohio and Rutgers, both are at home. I think they're going to be able to get out to a 2-0 start. Then they have a tough game at Iowa State, but if they win that, it's going to be a 4-0 start because I think they'll be Middle Tennessee. And then it's really just getting through the Big Ten. You're going to start off with your hardest test, and that's going to be Michigan. And if you lose that, I still think that they're probably favored in every other game. I think that they're better than Penn State. I think they're better than Purdue. I think they're definitely better than Northwestern. That's at Northwestern, but Northwestern doesn't have this crazy edge over, it doesn't have this crazy home field advantage. Then they have to go to Camp Randall, which will be tough. I think that's their second toughest game this whole year, or third toughest game because I think Iowa State's going to be a tough one. I think that's their third toughest game. Then they have to play Row That Boat, PJ Fleck. Against Minnesota, but that's going to be at Iowa. Then they're going to have a cakewalk of Illinois, and then they play Nebraska at Nebraska. That one's going to be tough, but I honestly think that there's a way that they can go 10-2.
There's a part of me inside that wants to get mad at you for saying cakewalk, but I can't. Illinois is just a bad team.
I did my math right, too.
When you were
I think they can go 10-2.
When you were like, cakewalk, I want to be like, oh, man, that
Your
makes
team's
me angry.
trash.
I know.
If they win 3 games, it will be a miracle.
The thing, though, about Iowa that I really do like about them is defensively this year, especially up front, they are upperclassmen loaded. Like, just looking at their line, 2 seniors on the inside. You've got Chauncey Golson and then AJ, I'm going to say this name wrong, Espenzenza? I said that wrong.
Oh,
Iowa fans, help me out.
AJ Espenza.
Yeah. Like,
it's not that tough.
AJ and Chauncey on the outside. I'm just going to use first names. AJ and Chauncey on the outside. Like, I saw a thing on Twitter where it was a gif of, like, people dancing, and it's like the Iowa secondary knowing they don't have to cover anyone this year because the pass rush is going to get to them before they can throw the ball.
He's a guy that's going to be in the Bronco Nagurski race. I mean, he's an absolute stud. So I think you have 2 guys that are going to be at least stars on both ends of the field. In Apenza, and now I'm worried that I'm saying it wrong. I think it might be Apenza.
Apenza. I'll just say it like you're saying, Apenza.
I think it might be Apenza. But I think that Nate Stanley is a stud. 6'4", kid's got a cannon. I think in his junior, I think it might be his senior year. But I think he's finally going to take that step that puts him over the edge because he's been young. He hasn't been consistent enough, but he has the talent. And I think that now is the year that he can take that next step. And last year, he was decent, near 60% completion percentage, 2,800 yards, 26 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I think he might be just getting a little bit more better. I think he might be able to complete more passes. I think he'll make less mistakes. And I think that you're probably going to look at one of the best Big Ten quarterbacks this year in Nate Stanley and one of the best defensive players, and you have a great head coach in Kirk Ferentz, and it's impossible to play in that stadium. So I think overall, Iowa, although their schedule isn't going to be easy because you do have to go to Camp Randall, you do have to play Michigan, you do have to play at Iowa State, I think that they have a really good chance if they get through those challenges to be a team that might win the Big Ten West. And if they do that, it's just beating Ohio State in the championship game, and if you do that, you're probably going to be a possible top 4 team.
Or could be Michigan now that Urban Meyer is not coaching the Buckeyes.
Yeah, but if you beat Michigan, then
either or. I mean, it's probably going to be Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah, never mind. I was like, if you beat Michigan, you can't play Michigan in the Big Ten title game.
Yeah,
dumbass. They're in the different divisions. But yeah, I mean, but then again, I would rather lose to Michigan in the regular season than beat them in the Big Ten championship. So I think Iowa could be a team that could be a sleeper. So that would be my first part is the top 25 team.
So I am going to go the other route of you. This is going to be a team that. Are they going to be a team that challenges for their division? No. Are they going to be a team that challenges for the conference? No. Are they going to be a college football playoff team? No. So you might be wondering, Ricky, why are you even mentioning them? This is a team that last year under their new head coach coming in from Alabama and a quarterback taking the next step in his sophomore season had a pretty good 5-7 season, and I think this could be a year where this team could surprise, get 3 more wins than they had last year, and become bowl eligible. That team is the Tennessee Volunteers. Like, this is a team last year Jeremy Pruitt's first year, they go 5-7. It was a lot last year with him. Just, I got to set the culture, what I want it to be. Last year, they had Jarrett Garantano throw for just shy of 2,000 yards on the season, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And you might be saying, only 12 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. That was an up from 997 yards the year before in about half the completions and about 100 less attempts in that 2017 season. But I look at this where it's like, okay, Garantano took a step last year. I expect him to take another step this year with this same Jeremy Pruitt system around him. This is a team also, looking at their schedule, I think they can get wins off the bat. Like, they play Georgia State, BYU, and Chattanooga to start their season. BYU might be the toughest of those three. If Garantano plays well enough, this could be a 3-0 team heading into the SEC. Then from there on out, it's like, okay, you got to find 5 wins in those, or 5 wins. UAB is in there too, so I'm going to count that as a win as well. Mm-hmm. So 4, you got to find 4 conference wins. And I mean, South Carolina could be a team that they get the better of. I mean, going to Missouri is going to be tough, but Missouri's never been that great of a team. The big thing with Missouri this year is they've got Kelly Bryant coming in to be their quarterback coming from Clemson. So they might be a better team with Kelly Bryant at quarterback. We're going to have to wait and see. Vanderbilt, I don't think, is going to be nothing special. It's just going to be, will Tennessee be a bowl team? Maybe not. But they could be one that surprises if they can find a way to get 4 conference wins in a tough SEC.
I'm going to follow that up with a team that's kind of like Tennessee, a team that's always been like in that upper tier they've seen, but they've always been struggling at least.
Okay. I'm
going to go with the U.
Nice.
This is a team that obviously had success before, losing head coach. I'm blanking on his name.
Rick Wright.
No, Rick Wright.
Or Mark Wright.
Few?
No, it was Mark Wright.
Mark Wright.
The guy from Georgia.
Yeah.
And now they got Matt Diaz.
Manny Diaz. Matt Diaz was a former Braves outfielder, and Rick Wright was a former SI columnist. I love how we can remember people that do not matter, but the teams that actually matter, we don't know.
I said Mark Wright, and you're like, Mark Few. No, he's at Gonzaga.
He is a coach. I think that you're looking at team like they lost some guys during the draft. They're going to be dealing with some issues at quarterback, but I think they have a fairly easy conference. They're in the easiest one, I think, in the ACC and the Coastal. I think that the schedule's fairly easy. Their defense is going to be good. Manny Diaz does a great job with that defense. And I think that it's a team that constantly gets slept on. If he's able to feed them that idea of, hey, we're being slept on, and they're able to force a couple upsets, it's really all about getting that ACC championship game. And even then, I'm saying this might be, Kentucky wasn't a top, 15 school, or they weren't a top 10 school, but they were just outside of it. I think this is a team that, might go to the ACC championship game and at least give Clemson a tough time. I think that would be my idea of a great season for Miami, is going to the ACC championship game, which I think is definitely in grasp due to what Manny Diaz has been able to do before with that defense. And I think that the quarterback issue will not be solved, but I think it could be hidden just by how good that defense is.
Well, and the thing that's interesting about the quarterback situation is you say hidden. We don't really know what to expect from Tate Martell, because he was in the whole situation of, I'm the next guy at Ohio State. Oh, Justin Fields is in. Fuck you guys, I'm gone.
But he doesn't have any experience, and it's just like, if he isn't great, there's no promise that he's going to be great. He's talented, but there's no promise that he is great. He can be great. I think that they might have to hide their quarterback situation. I think the defense can bail them out. Now, hey, if Tate Martell is using that talent and he turns out to be great and he has that fuck you attitude and wants to turn it around, then maybe we do see this team actually be better than what I'm even expecting. Maybe they can out-succeed my expectations of them out-succeeding their expectations. So I think Tate Martell is definitely a wild card, but if I'm not putting a ton of eggs into that basket, because it might break all my eggs.
The only thing is, because I agree with you, but then I don't agree with you.
That's fine.
Because it's kind of like the same thing we said about Justin Fields in the last segment. Like you just said, he hasn't played, so we can't really like hang our hat on anything. But maybe it's just me trying to be, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Optimistic. It's got to be better than what we saw last year with N'Kosi Perry and Malik Rosier, where it was like, throw him in. Oh, he's not doing good. Throw him in. Ooh, he's not doing good. Which one are we going to throw in today? Where I think the good thing for the U maybe this year is, hey, this is our guy, and we are going to stick with him. Like, he's our guy. No one else is going to take that job away from him. I'll throw out a team that's kind of similar in that sense, and that's, to me, the USC Trojans, where this is a team, if you look at their season last year, kind of, it wasn't a great season if you're looking for, from a Trojan standpoint, where Arizona State was better than you, with Herm Edwards coming in his first year as head coach. Utah should be tough again this year. They're probably going to be favorites to win the South. But I look at USC, and, okay, JT Daniels coming back for another year. Last year wasn't a terrible year. It's just, can we get those touchdowns up and those interception numbers down like it is usually every year when it comes to quarterbacks. But to me, I look at this team and I go, okay, can JT Daniels in his sophomore year take a step to where it's like, okay, he's a better quarterback than he was the year before? And to me, it's which one of these wide receivers? Is it going to be a Taylor Vaughns, a St. Brown, a Michael Pittman Jr.? Which one of these guys is going to step up? Pittman Jr. Probably being my kind of likely candidate because he's the senior of the squad. Which one of these guys is going to step up and be the main weapon for JT Daniels so this USC team can have more wins than it did last year? Because they were, 5-7 last year?
Yeah, I don't want to give USC any respect. I'm going to be honest. Like,
it's a Notre Dame fan coming out.
Here's the thing is
Notre Dame and Huskies.
Yeah, people get always upset like, man, you hate the Knicks. Like, no, I don't. I don't hate the Knicks. I'm hard on the Knicks, but I don't hate the Knicks.
But you hate the Trojans.
I hate USC, so fuck them. Fuck them kids. Yeah, I don't care. I hope they succeed all expectations all the time.
October 12th in South Bend.
Oh, they're going to get rolled. Absolutely rolled. JT Daniels is going to look like a child out there.
Okay.
Bum. Trash. All of them are trash. I think that a team. I have two Pac-12 teams actually. Okay. I do think that the Pac-12 is very open outside of Washington.
I do have a second Pac-12 team also.
If Washington isn't that good, like if Washington has a falling down, I think that these two teams possibly could maybe win the Pac-12 because I don't think the Pac-12 is great outside of them. Maybe Oregon, but outside of them, I don't really think it's huge. The two teams that I was looking at were Cal football and Arizona. I think Arizona could be a tricky one because if Khalil Tate is able to go back to his 2017 form, I think this defense is improving under Kevin Sumlin. This could be a team that could take that next step, and maybe they surprise it because Kevin Sumlin's had success before. He pissed me off
so much last year.
Who, Khalil or Kevin Sumlin?
Khalil.
Oh, yeah.
Pissed me because in the preview I was like, this is the surprise team, spoiler team. Like, he was great last year. He's going to be great this year. And then I watched him. I went, great. You put my foot in my mouth. Like, I'm not going to talk great about you again because you proved me wrong. So I kind of had a little vendetta against Khalil last year because I talked him up and he didn't play up to it.
Yeah, I think that he's so talented. And if he's able to take a hold of that offense, if he's able to take in the actual offense and grow in it, then maybe it will be something that they could turn around. I mean, his offensive coordinator said he was learning to become a quarterback. So if he actually learned that, I think that maybe they'll be able to take that next step because he is extremely talented. And that defense, it isn't great by any means, but Kevin Sumlin has improved it. So if they're able to take that next step and they're able to become maybe near a top 50 defense and Khalil Tate's able to take that step back to where he was in 2017, it's definitely a long shot, but we're talking about surprises. It would be surprising if he did that, but I think it is in the cards. So I would say Arizona has to be one. And then Cal, too. Cal's the opposite. Cal has a great defense. They have no quarterback. And if Khalil Tate was on the Cal Golden Bears, I might even be more confident in that one. But I think that they had such a great year last year. They were losing close games, and that's a sign of a good team. And I think that that's going to continue over. I think Justin Wilcox has really built up a great team in Cal, and maybe not a great team, but at least a great culture. And I think that we can see that team grow even more this year, and that could be a team that could surprise me and be playing in the Pac-12 title game.
So my other Pac-12 team is on the other side of basically what you got. It's not a team where it's like, oh, they were bad last year and they could be better this year. This is one that was good last year in Herm Edwards' first year as head coach.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
But they lost a couple pieces. They lost their quarterback. They got a new one coming in redshirt junior Dylan Sterling Cole.
They lost my guy, N'Keal Harry.
They also lost N'Keal Harry.
My guy.
Who right now, Kyle Williams, who I have the stats up here. So N'Keal Harry had over 1,000 yards for them last season on 73 receptions and 9 touchdowns. Kyle Williams, who's now one of their senior, it's him and Tommy Hudson. Tommy Hudson's tight end receiver type of player. Kyle Williams. So N'Keal had 1,000 yards. Kyle Williams had 432 on 32 less receptions and had about 8 less touchdowns. So for me, this is a team where it's like, I'm putting you in the biggest surprise category because, yeah, you kind of surprised me last year. I didn't expect Herm Edwards to just walk in and that team to be the second best team in their division on their side of the Pac-12. But now you lose your quarterback from last year. You lose your top target from last year. Can this team create the same kind of magic that it had last year, even with a tough Utah team in their division or in their side of the Pac-12? That's why for me it's like they could be a surprise, but they're a surprise because they've got the 8 ball against them this year.
I think, to wrap it up, I got 2 more teams. And these are absolute long shots, even more long shots than the ones I've said before.
Okay.
One of them is Kansas. You added Les Miles. I don't think this team's going to be great, but hell, if Kansas wins 7 games, would that not be shocking?
If Kansas made a bowl game, I'd be shocked.
Exactly. So, hey, Les Miles coming in. I don't know.
If they got 6 wins, I'd be like, holy shit.
Maybe it could happen. Maybe it could work.
Patron Pat would be dancing on the table if Kansas
maybe it could work.
made
I mean,
a bowl game.
They won, I think, 2 games last year, 3 games last year. I mean, they won more than I expected last year, which was a step up. You added a true coach in Les Miles.
3-9, 1-8 in the Big 12.
3-9 is pretty decent, and their whole question marks, the biggest question marks, is their defense. Les Miles knows defense. I don't think it's going to be crazy. I don't think they're going to be that great, but I think they could possibly win 6 games. So I'll rock out with the Kansas Jayhawks. They could be surprising.
Their wins came against Central Michigan on the road,
Texas,
Rutgers, and TCU.
Oh, I thought they beat Texas.
They 24-17 lost to Texas. It was TCU, was the 27-26 win.
Did they beat them in 2017?
Maybe.
I thought they beat Texas in football, which was like, the hell's going on here? No, I gotta find this now. I think it was maybe it was 2016.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was an overtime game in 2016.
Yeah. Rock Chalk Jayhawks. And my other team, my favorite team in college football,
Notre Dame,
the greatest coach of all time, Lane Kiffin.
Oh,
And the Florida Atlantic Owls.
All right.
I was on it last year. I said they were going to beat Oklahoma at the start of the year. They didn't. They were horrible. No, they went like 6-6.
Didn't you have to change your profile picture to Lincoln Riley because of that?
Oh, for the whole season.
And then you were so happy when the season ended.
Yeah. It's now a picture of my beautiful face. And looking at this team's schedule, they don't start off easy. They go play a team called Ohio State at Columbus, and then they play UCF. But then they play Ball State and Wagner and Charlotte and Middle Tennessee and Marshall, and they play Middle Tennessee at home and Old Dominion and Western Kentucky and Florida International and UTSA and Southern Miss. And what I'm saying is if they beat Ohio State and UCF, they're going to not a top 4 bowl because they're a mid-major. But if they do that, they're running the table. And they're going to the Peach Bowl. No, not the Peach Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, because that one's not a top
For
four.
a second, I'm
That's not
like,
college
I
playoff.
can't find their division to pull up their page.
CSA.
Yeah, they were buried in there.
Yeah, they're gonna be national champions.
Oh,
Florida Atlantic University, Lane Kiffin and the Owls.
So we're gonna make another bet like last year.
Nope.
Is Sean gonna say they're gonna beat Ohio State?
Here's the thing: new quarterback, new head coach. They've been upset before by
put them on upset alert
by a beautiful man in Baker Mayfield, and Lane Kiffin's beautiful. Boom.
Put them on upset alert is what you're saying.
Florida Atlantic.
The last team I'm gonna say,
down.
this is my college football playoff sleeper, and the reason why I'm throwing them out there is because the time is right. Urban Meyer is no longer at Ohio State. You've got new head coach. I know he coached last year at a couple games for him, but new head coach, new quarterback looking to prove himself, coming over from Georgia. This is the time to strike if you are the Michigan Wolverines. This team, they've got Shea Patterson coming back. Love him, hate him, he's coming back. They're going to have a wide receiver crew led by Tariq Black, who's only a junior, who's going to be in draft discussions. Will he come out? Probably. I don't think he stays for a senior year. Yeah. This is a team that Mid-Tennessee, they should win. Army, they should win. Going into Wisconsin, that's going to be tough, but I think they could still get that win. Then Rutgers win. Iowa, good thing they play them at home and not at Iowa, but that's a tough one. Then Illinois, like, they can beat us even though it's in Champaign.
No, they will beat you.
No,
they could play you on the moon, and they would beat you.
They could beat us.
You. They could beat you with their legs tied together. They could beat Illinois. They will beat Illinois.
Really, what I'm saying is this could be another year that comes down to, hey, can you beat Ohio State? And because Urban Meyer's not there, I'm going to say this team can beat Ohio State. And if they do, they will be a college football playoff team.
But why? They're going to have one loss in their schedule.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone makes a big thing.
I'm just happy they're playing Notre Dame again.
Everyone makes this big hullabaloo of he was 0-7 versus versus Ohio State, right? Right? Everything was like,
but they can lose to Notre Dame and still make the playoff.
37-0 last time we saw them. I don't think they can do that, and I think we've owned them a pretty decent amount. At least in the past 3 games, we've gone 2-1. Who's the team we've been beating? I think it's just USC. But yeah, no, I think we're going to stomp Michigan, and they're going to be a 1-loss team, and they're not going to be able to win the Big Ten title game because Iowa is going to be doing that. So it's going to be a Power 4 of Clemson, Alabama, Iowa, and Notre Dame. That's your college football playoff.
And the reason why I say they can do it is, like, you look at last year, 2018. Oklahoma, 4th seed. They had 1 loss. They won their conference, but they had 1 loss. And then I'll only go back 2 years. 2017, we had every single team in the playoff had 1 loss. So, I mean, of course, last year was the outlier where we had 3 undefeated teams. But 1 loss is not going to kill you. If they lose to Notre Dame, as long as they win their side of the Big Ten, and win the Big Ten, they'll at least have a shot. They could surprise us and be a playoff team. And if they did make the playoff, I think it would surprise many people because I still believe that people want to root against Jim Harbaugh.
If everyone's saying that you guys are crazy for these, no one thought Kentucky was going to be a top 15 team. And also, we don't think all of these teams could. We are taking as many shots as possible that maybe one could possibly hit in a very long shot.
You get 1, and then you can ride it to the bank, Sean.
Yep.
You can just ride it to the bank.
I'm going to go figure out what I said about Kentucky last year. Which you should, too, at Most Valuable Podcast YouTube channel.
Let us know what you guys think also down below in that comment section. Who are your biggest surprises this year in college football? Make sure to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Make sure to also rate the podcast on Apple iTunes and Apple Podcasts. And then follow us on Twitter at Schwarbo, at Ricky Widmer, at Most Valuable Pod. Thank you guys for checking out the podcast, giving us a bit of your day, a bit of your time. And as always, have a good day, everybody.